We begin here. Former President Jacob Zuma is expected to file an urgent application for the rescission of the Constitutional Court ruling, in terms of which he was sentenced to 15 months in prison for contempt. Zuma's legal team, led by advocate Jayed-Leigh Paulse SC, has also indicated to the state that the former president will urgently seek to stay the implementation of the order for his arrest and committal in the KwaZulu-Natal High Court in Pietermaritzburg. Now, former President Jacob Zuma's supporters in Durban brought some roads in the Durban CBD to a standstill, disrupting traffic flows as they protested against Zuma serving a 15-month prison sentence. Some protesters were carrying placards with various messages, including pledges of support. The large crowds has now converged outside the provincial ANC offices. The Metro Police are also on the scene. Let's cross now to our reporter Jayed-Leigh Paulse for more. Thank you so much for your time, Jayed. Now tell us more. What's happening there at the moment? We know that there are several protests of similar kind being displayed in the country. What's happening where you're at?
Well, a very good afternoon to you. And you are correct. There are several protests across the country from supporters pledging their support to former President Jacob Zuma, throwing their weight around him. We saw that in the Eastern Cape, in Nelson Mandela Bay, with Andre Lungisa heading that march over there, and as well as in KwaZulu-Natal. For the better part of the morning, supporters have been blockading and protesting here in the Durban CBD, cordoning off several roads. The officials on the ground had to ensure that the roads were open. Police were also very visible and very, very busy this morning. But now the protesters here in Durban have converged at the ANC offices, and they wanted to hear from the provincial ANC-led government what exactly is going to happen with regards to former President Jacob Zuma. I am joined by the spokesperson for the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Nkandla. Mr. Ntombela, just take us through, obviously visibly angry supporters pledging their support to former President Jacob Zuma and stopping here at the ANC offices to hear word with regards to the structures and what exactly is going to happen to Mr. Zuma.
Well, today we had to receive comrades who are from the Tegwini region who are coming to state their case, that they are coming here to inform us as a PEC to send a message to the Provincial Executive Committee first and foremost, to the NEC and to the President, that they are against the decision of the Constitutional Courts incarcerating President Zuma, former President Zuma. So we had to listen to what they had to say, and we have listened to their message. It will be passed also to the PEC. There was supposed to be an NEC over the weekend. We've just got a communication now from the DSG that NEC has been cancelled. There are NEC members deployed to the province to come and engage with the structures. Hopefully from that engagement with the NEC members and the PEC, we'll have to develop a clear direction moving forward of how do we engage with our structures and give them information. Because one of the issues, you hear their issues, it's a grievance of not knowing what is happening, what led to where we are. But most importantly, what is the stand of the organization on this matter, and how is the organization going to navigate this situation moving forward? Because the Constitutional Court, the highest court in the land, has resolved on the matter. So the ANC must give leadership on that situation with the former President Zuma.
Now, the ANC has been quiet in that regard, and you said that the PEC is expected to sit. When do we expect this to happen?
Based on the information, either we are meeting later today, if not early morning tomorrow, to get a briefing as a PEC. And from there, we'll be able to give a communication directly to our structures and to the membership in general, but also to the people of KwaZulu-Natal, because the issue of former President Zuma directly affects us in KZN. He's a resident in this province. His cases are in this province. If he is incarcerated, he will be incarcerated in this province. So whether we like it or not, we are compelled to be at the forefront of dealing with the situation more than the national office. So we think from that engagement of the PEC, we'll be able to give a clear direction to our people and our members. The call the ANC is making right now, that we call on our members to be calm, we call on our members to try to maintain maximum discipline, we call on our members to understand that we are still on level 4 lockdown. Let us ensure that we comply with the regulations. The Delta variant has arrived and it's hitting us hard. So if we are not careful, we might be losing our comrades and our supporters unnecessarily. So there is a message the ANC want to emphasize to all of our members, that no matter how angry we might be, but let us allow the organization to deal with the matter and give it direction and the leadership of how we're going to move forward with these issues.
And just lastly, before I let you go, you spoke about the level 4 regulations, and we've seen some of the large crowds converging in Nkandla as well as Durban. Just as the ANC-led government here in KwaZulu-Natal, just a call for calm and a call for those maybe also in as much as they want to pledge their support for former President Jacob Zuma, but also adhere to the COVID-19 regulations.
As the ANC, were consistent on that. Whether as a premier speaking, as a premier, the chairman of the province, has been very clear in articulating that. So, but also the onus on the law enforcement agencies to play their part in ensuring compliance. We are not the law enforcement agencies as an organization. As you are aware right now, we're not aware that there was a march coming here. It was not planned, but because we heard that they are coming to the office, we had to be proactive to come and listen to what they're saying. And once we listened to them, we gave them an ear and they dispersed peacefully. So hopefully as we engage moving forward, there will be that clarity and people will comply, because it's a matter of life and death. The issue of Comrade President Zuma is a matter we want to deal with as we move forward to ensure that there is stability in the province. No matter how angry comrades might feel, no matter how disappointed they might feel about the decision. But the reality is right now there is a court judgment, and that court judgment as it stands, it still stands, it cannot be changed.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ntombela. That was Ntombela. He's a spokesperson for the African National Congress here in the province. If I can just ask Nati behind the camera to walk with me. This was the road that was cordoned off at the Dr. Pixley Isakama Sema House, the ANC provincial house here, the offices, and as you can see on your screens, police are still on the scene, ensuring that those supporters are dispersed, as you heard there from the spokesperson of the ANC in the province, citing that in as much as they know that supporters want to throw their weight and pledge their support behind former President Jacob Zuma, they are calling for calm, they are calling for law enforcement to also step in and ensure that there is compliance, but also ensuring that those large gatherings do not occur across the province. I'm going to leave it there and hand it back to you in studio.
Now, Jade, before I let you go, very interesting remarks there by Mr. Ntombela, essentially also confirming that the NEC meeting has been, suspended. Now, we know that in that meeting that this conversation around the former president was going to be front and center. But questions have arisen, Jade, in terms of why, what the supporters are actually saying. Why are they there? Do we know, if they know why they're there?
Well, that's true. I think the bone of contention right now is the lower level structures of the ANC not knowing where to from here. What do? They are waiting for a statement from the ANC with regards to former President Jacob Zuma. They haven't received that. So the branches are also confused. They don't know where to from here, what to do, what to say. And I suppose those that are in support for former President Jacob Zuma are taking to the streets and venting out their frustrations. We did hear from the ANC spokesperson now that they are expecting to hold a PEC meeting, whether that will be tonight or tomorrow. It is yet to be confirmed, but also confirming that the NEC that was supposed to meet over the weekend will now not meet, and unsure when that is actually going to take place. I'm just actually going to, if not, you can walk with me. Let's just try and find some of those organizers that actually gave word to, I see here's Mrs. Young. Mrs. Young, you were one of the people involved. If I can steal you briefly for a minute. You were people involved just handing over that memorandum to the provincial ANC. Just talk us through some of those demands or key points.
Okay. Singama comrade la eThekwini sithi umsholozi lesi sigwebo anikwe sona sika 15 months asihambisani naso. Ngakho sizonxenxa iPEC ukuba ihambe kwi-national naku comrade Cyril Ramaphosa ukuba sebenzisa amandla akhe njengo president we-country ukuthi avikele umsholozi ongu-former president okwazi ukuthi nasebusheni bakhe waqala ukulwela lelizwe wafukuza kuze sikhululeke. Siphatheka kabuhlungu uma sithola manje ngesikhathi sakhe sokuba retire aphumule simthola manje engathi buyi apartheid iqondene naye ngqo uyahlukunyezwa left and right and center. So sithi President Cyril Ramaphosa ngenelela ekuhlukumezweni kwamsholozi.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Young. She's one of those people there that handed over the memorandum to the ANC officers here, but also just saying there, just to translate loosely, that she wants the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, to intervene in this matter, also calling for the ANC for some more clarity, the NEC also to deal with this matter. As you can hear, many of the branches at the lower levels are unsure as to what's going to happen. We did hear from the ANC in the province that they are expecting to hold a PEC, and that's where all of this will be clarified, as well as the National Executive Committee. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you so much for that report, Jade. And that is obviously the concern there coming from KZN. What is the plan? All right, we will definitely be checking in with Jade and other reporters in KZN about just some of the protests that are happening around that province. As we've heard from the KZN provincial spokesperson with Mr. Nkandla Ndombela, the NEC meeting of the ANC that was scheduled to take place this weekend seems to be suspended, but we'll see if we can get more information around that, because as you know, that meeting was supposed to clarify just some of the ANC's thoughts and official statement around the former President Jacob Zuma. Now, more supporters continue to descend on Nkandla in northern KwaZulu-Natal to show their solidarity with former President Jacob Zuma, and they believe the Constitutional Court's judgment is unfair. Now, let's get the very latest. We cross to our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo. Ayanda, what is the latest where you are now outside Nkandla?
Very, very good afternoon, and good afternoon to our viewers. Certainly in the morning it was a bit quiet, but as the day has progressed, we've seen a few members, or more and more rather, members of the ANC arrive here outside the home of the former president. In fact, about around midday today, a delegation coming from Mpumalanga province of supporters of the former president have arrived here, and they're also joining those that were here yesterday, largely from the eThekwini region in Durban, who had come to vent their frustration, but also to show their support and solidarity with the former president. And speaking to this members of the ANC that have come from Mpumalanga, they're also saying that they're here to defend and protect the former president, and that they are not going to allow the former president to hand himself over to the authorities, nor will they allow the police to come and arrest them. Of course, this weekend was supposed to as well be that all-important ANC NEC meeting, which has now been postponed due to the situation in KwaZulu-Natal, and from the ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte saying that instead they are going to be deploying ANC NEC members here to the province of KwaZulu-Natal to try and deal with this situation. Clearly, members of the ANC in this province are deeply divided at this point, and so over the next couple of hours and this weekend, one will then have to see how the ANC national leaders are going to be able to deal with this situation. These are members of the ANC, of course, that have continuously supported the former president, even when he appeared at the Pietermaritzburg High Court in connection with his corruption case. This group that we've seen arrive here today from Mpumalanga has consistently been in Pietermaritzburg to show their support for the former president. And again, in February, at the time when the former president, we had anticipated that the former president was going to appear before the Zondo Commission, and then he refused to appear. There was a delegation that came here to see him from Mpumalanga, and we've we've once again seen the same ANC leaders from that province and their members come through here to show their support to the former president. We're told that, of course, throughout later on today, more ANC members are coming through, but is expecting to get really, really busy tomorrow and Sunday. Of course, we're also anticipating following the statement that was issued by the Jayed-Leigh Zuma Foundation that this weekend the former president is going to be addressing the nation. About 2 hours ago, they also issued a second communique saying that they are dealing with the logistical arrangements in terms of venues. At this point, they cannot tell us whether it's going to be Saturday or whether it's going to be Sunday. Also, whether or not it's going to be a virtual address or members of the media are going to be allowed to go and capture that address that's going to be made by the former president. It's going to be the first time, of course, that we're going to be hearing from him personally in terms of, since the Constitutional Court's ruling. And it was likely then that we're going to get a way forward. Of course, we do know that it was expected that his legal team was also going to file an application with in the Pietermaritzburg High Court today to seek a stay of his arrest, and that of course follows the order that was signed by the acting Chief Justice Sisi Kampempe, saying that the former president is going to be remanded at Durban's Westville Correctional Facility. So ANC members in high spirits here, maintaining that they are not going to allow the former president to be arrested. Also importantly, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, we are expecting the MKMVA, Mkhonto weSizwe military veterans, a spokesperson. He has indeed arrived. Carl Niehaus, he arrived a few 30 minutes or so ago. He is going to be addressing the members of the media here. Obviously, he is joining the MKMVA members that have been camped outside the former president's home now for several months. Again, though, we must say that this is just a small group. The MKMVA in itself are divided. This is one group of MKMVA, equally here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. There are those like the group that is here who are here to protect and defend the former president, but there are also others who believe say that the former president is not above the law, and they agree and support the decision of the Constitutional Court. So we will hear from the MKMVA in a few minutes' time in terms of what they're going to say, but also what are these protests going, whether or not this protest, whether or not this action by these members of the ANC are going to make any difference to their situation. The Constitutional Court has made its decision. The former president has until Sunday, unless otherwise the Pietermaritzburg High Court agrees to hear his matter as an urgent matter, but come Sunday, former President Jacob Zuma must hand himself over to the authorities, failing which the Minister of Police and the National Police Commissioner will then have to effect that arrest in the 3 days that are going to be following. So, interesting developments that are continuing here. What is the former President Jacob Zuma going to say? What is his next move? Is he going to again wait until his 5 days are up and force the hand of law enforcement agencies to come and arrest him? We just have to wait and see. But we are on the ground monitoring what is happening here. It has been a relatively quiet today, just aside from these groups of ANC members that have been chanting slogans very quietly. In terms of police activity as well, we've been seeing a few, 1 or 2 police vans that have been moving along this route just to patrol. There hasn't been a presence of police that have been here as yet. But of course, we're on the ground and we continue to give our viewers the latest from Nkandla.
Thanks very much, Ayanda, and rightfully so. It will be an interesting couple of days before the D-Day, which is Sunday, for us to see, if the former president will in fact be handing himself over or reporting to the Johannesburg Central Police Station or the Nkandla Police Station as the court has ordered. And we do know that arrest warrant has been signed by Justice Sisi Kampempe. Thank you so much, Ayanda. We'll definitely be keeping in touch with you throughout the course of today, and we'll look forward, of course, to that announcement by the Mkhonto weSizwe Veterans Association. That was Ayanda Mhlongo.